Now, for you to stick out and stand out in the crowd, I believe you need additional skills. Because people are warm to that, and if you can build rapport, it's the main skill we're going to talk about today. So we want to stand out in that crowd to make sure that you're in a position where they pick you over somebody else. And sometimes people say to me, well, what about rates? What about percentages? If money was just one area where people made a decision, and all decisions were made on costs, we would wear cheap suits, we'd drive old cars, and we'd eat in the cheapest places possible. People will spend time and money if people care about them and they trust and like them. And that's a key area. Now, there's a guy called Blaise Pascal in 1657. And he said, a very interesting thing, a French mathematician, he said, the present letter is a long one simply because I had no time to make it shorter. That's nearly 400 years ago. The reason I'm telling you this is sometimes we talk too much. We say too much. We talk people into the business and we talk them out of the business. And we've already agreed that we're on the business of helping people to make a decision. So would it be okay with you if we recap the 5 words to get a yes, and then I taught you a further 5 skills on how to speak to people and develop rapport? Would that be okay with you? So in your pairs again, face your partners and give them a couple of would it be okays if that you could use, which would make it easier for when you're building rapport. Away you go. Would it be okay if you met for dinner tonight? Would it be okay if I took your telephone details? Would it be okay if I had a business card? Would it be okay if we picked up a cheque today? Would it be okay if we looked at details of your brother-in-law? Would it be okay if we looked at when your renewal date is? What could we use in a nice, gentle way we used yesterday? Now, the reason I'm telling you this is we can forget information. Do you remember yesterday? I mentioned to you Herman Ebbinghaus, and he said the ability to recall information shows a rapid decrease in a very short space of time. We need to revisit things on a regular basis. And that's why we're going to recap some things we did. And he figured this out in 1879 to 1895, 16 years on how we remember and retain information. So I'm going to recap some things, so at the end of this session you can walk away and use these skills today. This isn't shelf development. You take the book, you put it on a shelf at home, and you revisit it one day. Today you can use any of these word patterns because they're short and sharp and we can practice them. And it's a key area. Because you lose 60% in 60 minutes and 80% in a month, and we don't want to do that, do we? We want to keep ourselves in a position where it works properly. Okay then. Yesterday we talked about the golf ball being the conscious, brilliant part of your mind. I have a little bit more time to explain this in more detail. There's 2 parts of the mind. One part can make a decision, and one part can't make a decision. So if you're speaking to a prospect, which part of the mind should you speak to? Yeah, you're right. The part that can make a decision. So how do you do that? And that's the first problem we have. So we're going to scroll a little deeper now to help you work out which part of the mind can make a decision and which part can't. Now when you drive a car, it takes 26 coordinated skills to drive a car. That's why it's ugly. So on this side here, we're in the part which is the golf ball, the conscious, brilliant part, which can only focus on one thing at a time. One thing at a time, and it cannot make a decision. Now I know as you're sitting in your chair right now, you're thinking, oh, well I'm intelligent, I'm qualified, I've got this and I've got that. I understand what you're saying. But this part of the mind cannot make a decision, it can focus on one thing at a time. That's called the conscious mind. The part that can make a decision is over here.